Hello, or hello again, as history debunked. Is that the name, as he would say? Yeah, I've just been over in another park. This is Sean Moore Park, I think. I was in Ringsend Park, and I made a crappy sort of video. A rambling crappy video, not very good. Because as usual, as soon as I switched on the camera, I lost, I couldn't think of anything to say. Anyhow, here's the thing. Have you got a YouTube channel? Because I'm sure some of you have YouTube channels. And have you got, would you like to make an interesting video? Now, I'm too lazy to make professional videos, but there is a video I'd love to see, and you perhaps could make it if you've got a YouTube channel, and you can make reasonably decent videos. So, Katie Taylor. Now, you all know Katie Taylor, professional boxer, regarded by many as the best female fighter in the world. But if not the best, most people would put her in the top 3. And you will, of course, know that Katie Taylor is a Christian, and she refers from time to time to her relationship with God and Jesus Christ, etc., etc. Now, as it happens, my favourite boxer is a world champion like Katie Taylor. Her name is Chantelle Cameron. So what have Katie Taylor and Chantelle Cameron got in common? And let me repeat, if you have a YouTube channel and you're looking for something really interesting, this is interesting. So what have Chantelle Cameron and Katie Taylor got in common? Well, they're both Christians. Now, Chantelle Cameron, she's not as quite as Christian, let's say, as Katie Taylor. She doesn't talk about religion, but she wears a crucifix pretty much all the time, and different ones for different occasions. She also occasionally refers to please God and God willing. Now, you might say, well, a lot of people do that, but in the case of Chantelle Cameron, you'll see her occasionally blessing herself in the ring, that type of thing. And so it's very obvious, if you're a fan and you follow her and you watch all the interviews, that she is Christian, and a serious Christian at that. And then there is Seniesa Estrada. Now, Seniesa Estrada is a brilliant female boxer and hugely entertaining. She wears it's like a superwoman cape when she gets in the ring, but it's actually super bad. That's her stage name, so to speak. Now, she is Christian, and that's obviously, she will thank God for her victory and sometimes thank Jesus Christ. Alicia Baumgardner, who defeated Terry Harper just a few weeks ago. Alicia Baumgardner is a Christian, and she's very vocal about her Lord and Saviour, Jesus Christ. Now, as I said, I'm not a professional video maker. I don't have the patience. I'm too lazy to do the research. But the number of Christians in women's professional boxing is staggering. I would guess that probably about 1/5 of female fighters are Christians. And keep in mind, these are young women maybe from their early 20s up to their very early 30s. And if you go into your average job or your average, whatever it might be, or if you're in a sports club, if you're, whatever you might be engaged with, wherever you might meet people, you won't meet many people who are openly Christian. It's unusual, particularly among young people, and particularly maybe amongst young girls, when with all the pressure. Well, it's not just the pressure, but it's very unusual. But if you watch women's boxing, and I'm a huge fan of women's boxing, and I find the women fascinating, much more interesting than the men most of the time. But if you watch these fights and you watch the interviews, and I watch them all, over and over and over, you'll get, say, a hardcore who will refer to their Lord and Saviour Jesus Christ. But even that hardcore, it's not a tiny hardcore. The numbers are significant, and let me put it this way, it's not unusual, it's not remarkable. You will hear female fighters saying, literally thanking Jesus for their victory quite often. But then if you look at the people who are not quite as public and emphatic as that, if you listen to all the interviews, you'll constantly hear female fighters referring to God. Ellis Scotney, she's a younger fighter now, on her way up, great fighter, very tough. She's Christian. The numbers are huge. Yeah, way out of proportion to the numbers you'd find anywhere else. So if you want to make a genuinely interesting video, then you can look into this and you can research it, because it is at a certain level. If you weren't religious, at some level it's almost bizarre, because you can't get away from it. There's the constant, the religious symbolism, or they're referring or speaking in religious terms or something like that. It's not. I'm not talking here about a few girls. I'm not talking about, isn't it great that some of these young women are Christian? I mean, huge numbers of these women are Christian. And I cannot think of any other group in society where there are so many women who are religious, who are Christian. So that's all I really wanted to say. But if you're looking for a really fascinating subject, because I'd love to watch that video. I'd love someone to do a good quality professional investigation into this whole thing of just how it is that so many young women are Christian. It really is remarkable. I'm repeating myself, but I can't repeat this too often. It really is remarkable. And there must be a reason for it. Why is it that so many young girls who either come from a Christian background or who live in a Christian, just how so many young girls who are quite serious about being Christian and that, how so many of them gravitate towards boxing. So that's all I wanted to say. But that would be a fascinating video, and it would be quite a serious video too, because it's not a small thing. It's not an insignificant thing when you get huge numbers of these women just happened to be Christian. So check it out.